Okay, just another few more minutes, you guys. Match them up as best you can. Okay, just another few more minutes, you guys. Match them up as best you can. Oh, that video. So bad. All right. So you guys, this is just a reminder, kind of like to help us figure out what we know and what we don't, what we understand and what we don't, right? It's kind of a comprehension check this morning, the matching, right, for us. Yeah. Let's see what we remember. So one more minute, you guys. Hopefully Marlasia can join us too this morning. Okay. All right. Let's take a pause, you guys. So who can tell me, or who remembers, and feel free to unmute, you guys, there's only 4 of us, 5 of us. What are the clues when we're talking about like an indirect object? Okay. So we said there were a couple of words that would help us in a sentence identify what is the indirect object pronoun in a sentence. Do you remember what they are? Do you remember those clue words, those cheats that I kind of gave you last week? Right? Bob, right? I give the dog to Bob. Bob, right? He's the indirect object. Remember all that, you guys? And then we had all the forms of And then what was the other word? Do you remember what the other word we had was for clue? Other than Allah or or al or whatever. Do you remember what the other one was? It was the word for, right? I bought the candy for Susie, right? For Susie would be our indirect object. Okay. And so what is that word in Spanish? Para, P-A-R-A. Okay. So we have these 2 clues, right? Generally speaking, form of and the word para. And that tells us that's the indirect object. And that's the one that we need to like replace with the pronoun, right? So again, for example, I bought the candy for Susie, right? Candy is going to be our direct object because it's the thing being bought, right? But then indirectly, we're giving that candy to Susie, right? Or we bought it for Susie. And so for Susie is our indirect object. Okay. So we're going to practice that a little bit today. Let me share my screen and we will check our answers today. Okay. For our Nearpod. So please check. Hang on one second. Woo. All right. Check your Zoom screen. Okay, you guys. We also have to remember, you guys, our verb gustar. A mí me gusta. A ti te gusta, right? A usted, él, and ella le gusta. So those are all indirect object pronouns, right? So we had a ella, right? To her would be le, because it's me, te, and le, right? Nos and les, right? And then a ustedes, again, because it's plural, you would have matched it with les. A Susie, again, because it'd be the same thing as ella, it would be le. So be thinking, you guys, me, te, le, nos, and les. right? For indirect object pronouns, not only for people, but for things as well, okay? A mí me, a usted le, because it's singular. A Bob y yo would be nosotros, and therefore nos. A nosotros nos. A ti te. A Susie y a Mary. So that would be the same as a ellas, right? For them or to them, and therefore less, plural. Oopsie, sorry. A ellos, less because it's plural. A Bob, le, because it's singular. A Bob y tú, that's the hard one, because we're saying you and Bob, you all, right? Plural, you plural, and therefore less. Okay, you plural, you and Bob. It's more than one person. Okay, all right, any questions? How confused are you? Give me a 3, 2, 1. 3, I'm pretty confused. 2, I may get it with more practice. 1, I'm good. 3, 2, 1. 1, I'm good. 3, I'm pretty confused. 2, I need practice. Who's good? If you're good with these, give me a 1. Okay. So what we're going to do today, I guess I should change my screen up. I need to take roll too, don't I? Give me a second. Okay. All right, so here's our background today, you guys. I mean, our agenda today. Hoy es lunes, el 6 de octubre. Vamos a practicar con los pronombres indirectos, right? So we'll continue to practice with these indirect object pronouns. Y a empezar el proyecto de los afro-latinos notables. Okay, then we'll talk about our project a little more. Now, today is officially the first day of the second 9-week period. Okay, so just know that anything that we do, right, obviously will go on to start on to the second 9-week period, right? Grades are due this afternoon, et cetera, okay? All right, so let me know if you have a question about any of that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Your job, you guys, is to make sure that you can hear what I'm showing you. So give me 1 second, because you're going to need to put some answers in the chat for me, okay? Like we do. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to start. You got your volume on. Thank you, Joe Marion, Malia, Arshad. How about you, Malia or Mia? I can't see you, Mia, anymore. There you go. Y'all ready? Because I want to hear from everyone. Okay, so let's warm up. Let's practice this. Honestly, you guys, this will be our last day with these. So make sure we're engaging so that I can get a feedback from you. All right, here we go.
These Spanish lessons from somebody who speaks your language. At the very beginning of this video, I said direct objects usually answer the questions what or whom. I buy food. What do I buy? Food. Well, indirect objects usually answer the questions to whom or for whom pertaining to the direct object.
I forget that this guy needs to be slowed down if possible. It doesn't let me. Okay.
I buy you food. For whom do I buy the food? For you. You is the indirect object, and in this case, already an indirect object pronoun.
We're gonna skip this.
Direct object pronoun. Here's the chart of all the indirect object pronouns in Spanish. Do they look familiar? They should. Except for the third row here, they're exactly the same as the direct object pronouns you already learned. I buy you food would be te compro comida. Notice the placement of te before the conjugated verb. This is just like direct object pronouns. It's tricky, but if you've already practiced, this will be no harder. As always, though,
where is the indirect object pronoun placed in a sentence? In other words, are the rules any different than the ones we've already learned? Is it A, B, C, or D? Or is there more than one answer? Is it attached to a verb? Is it at the end of a sentence, in front of the verb, or after the verb? Very good, Joe Marion. Remember from our notes from last week, where do these things go? Very good, Brooklyn. Arshad and Mia, where do we put these pronouns in a sentence? Remember? If there's one verb in the sentence, you guys, it always goes in front of the conjugated verb, right? In front of the verb all the time, like me gusta, right? Okay. All right, let's keep going. I know he talks fast, you guys. Just try and keep up. There's no way for me to slow it down, unfortunately.
Always, though, it's the third row here that really messes everything up. As you see, it's just plain different. With direct object pronouns, him is masculine and her is feminine. Him is lo and her is la. But with indirect object pronouns, him and her are both la. It works the same on the plural side. So I love him would be lo amo. I love her would be la amo. But I buy him the food would be le compro la comida. And I buy her the food would also be le compro la comida. See how this can get a little...
All right. So do indirect object pronouns show gender? Yes or no? Does the actual word show gender? In other words, not the direct ones. The direct ones we have are lo and la, los and las. But on these indirect object pronouns, like, do we know if it's they or may? Right? Do we know if it's a male or a female? Right? Or if it's a lay or a less, we don't. We know for indirect object pronouns whether or not they're singular or plural. Okay. All right, let's try. Yes, that I just answered that one for you, right? Do they show plurality? Yes. Okay.
How this can get a little confusing. So in Spanish, it's important you can identify the direct object and the indirect object in a sentence because sometimes which pronoun you use will depend on it. Let's practice this in English quickly to get used to it before we see it in Spanish. Manuel tells me a story.
Which is the direct object in English? In other words, what is the thing being told? A, B, C, or D? What is the thing being told? Yes, in other words, what is receiving the action of the verb, right? Because we're talking about direct objects here. So if you said the story, that's correct. We're talking about direct objects, right? So if Manuel tells me a story, what is the thing being told, right? It's the story. But you guys, now listen up because he's gonna go to this next bit here. If we're talking about the indirect object, which tells us to who or for who, then Manuel tells a story to me. Isn't that right, you guys, in English? To me. And so that me in the English sentence is the indirect object. That's why in Spanish, when I say you got to look for or para, right? To me tells a story to me, right? Or for me, right? Okay. So the indirect object then, you guys, Manuel tells me a story, right? And so me, because I'm the one being told, right? Okay.
Story. A story is the direct object. It answers the question, what? What does Manuel tell? Then me is the indirect object pronoun. It answers the question, to whom? To whom does Manuel tell a story? Here's another one. He. Okay. All right. So you guys, without my help, identify the direct object. He sells her the phone. What is the direct object? A, B, C, or D? Okay, Arshad or Mia? What is the direct object? A, B, C, or D? In the chat, you guys. What's the direct object? He sells her the phone. Mia?
Okay. Right. So it'd be C, right? The phone, because that's the thing being sold. Good.
Another one. He sells her the phone. The phone
Okay.
is the
Now, what
direct
is the
object.
indirect object here, you guys? He sells her the phone. Is it A, B, C, or D? He sells her the phone. Yeah. Remember that indirect objects answer the question to who or for who. So he sells her the phone. So to whom is he selling the phone, you guys? He's selling the phone to? Right. Brooke, he's selling the phone to? Very good. He's selling the phone to her, which is why I'll say it again. In Spanish, we're always looking for those cheats like a ella, right? Or para ella. Those are our cheats in Spanish, a and para. Okay. All right.
The phone is the direct object. Her is the indirect object pronoun. I bought you a present. A present is.
All right. So I bought you a present. What was the thing that was bought, you guys? The present. That's the direct object. I bought the present for who? For who? For who? For you. And so, you guys, that's going to be our indirect object. Okay.
A present is the direct object in this one, and you is the indirect object pronoun. Got this? Asking those questions, what or whom, then to whom or for whom, really does work. Now, since indirect objects are basic.
Okay, we're going to skip this. We're going to, in the interest of time, okay, we're going to go on to our next little practice. So I need y'all to pay attention real quick and let me know whether or not you can see my screen. Give me a second. We're going to do something in our textbook, okay? Okay, can y'all see this screen? Let me make it full sized here. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can see this. I'll try and make it bigger. Yes, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, okay. Malia and Arshad, I need some feedback, please. Thank you. Okay, so this is out of our book. You also have this in your modules, okay? But what I want us to do here in just a second is to, again, we'll do some live practice, okay? So just as a reminder, sometimes for emphasis in Spanish, you use both of them. For example, a mí me gusta, okay? A Carlos le gusta. So they repeat the indirect object and the indirect object pronoun for emphasis, okay? Here they are again. Me, te, le, nos, and les. Okay, we're not going to worry about the vosotros form. Placement. Indirect object pronouns are placed before the verb. Carlos me trae el desayuno. Carlos brings me breakfast. Okay. Or attached to the infinitive when we have two verbs, right? Puedes, can you? Traernos. Traer is the regular form of the verb. Notice we have two verbs, puedes and traer. Okay, so we can stick our nos at the end of that, just like we did with the direct object pronouns. Okay, all right. Any questions about those before I turn the page here? All right. What I would like us to do is some of these we're going to do from 60. We're going to fill in the blanks together. And then in 61, okay, I'm going to ask you guys to complete the sentence. Okay, and I'm going to assign each of you a sentence. Okay, and we'll see how you do. All right, so let's come up here. Let me see if I can turn on my stuff. Okay, yeah, that'll work. Okay, so Andy's text message is missing some words. Complete each sentence with an indirect object pronoun. Okay, well, it's not going to work. All right, let's try this. Oh, I know why. It was white. It was white. Let's see if I can change the color. Color. It's too blue. Okay. So with an indirect object pronoun. Okay. So nosotros something compramos un postre a Tim. Okay. So our clue, you guys, is Tim. Right? So what we're trying to say is we are buying a dessert for Tim, Tim. So if Tim is one dude, right? What pronoun do we use? What indirect object pronoun do we use? Is it me? Is it they? Is it le? Is it nos? Or is it les? Let me go back. Here's our choices. Here's our choices, right, you guys? So if we're saying for Tim, right, we're buying a dessert for Tim. Tim is one dude, right? He is the person we are buying the cake for, okay? So if Tim is one dude, take a look at our chart. How do we say that we're buying it for him? He's one dude. Very good, Brooklyn. We're going to use le, right, you guys? We're going to use le here, okay? Le. Okay, any questions? Why is it le? Because remember, for indirect object pronouns, it's about for whom, right? Or to whom. Okay, so let's try number 2. Yo something preparo unos sándwiches a Tess y a Patricia. So once again, you guys, our clue is a Tess and Patricia. So 2 ladies, right? So what we're saying is I prepare some sandwiches for them. For them. So what is our plural? Good, Jo Marion. Good, Malia. What is our plural? I prepare some sandwiches for them. What's our plural going to be? Very good. Arshad? Going to be less, right? Yes, very good. Okay, less. Okay, well. All right, let's try number 3. Yo something compro unas manzanas a Mac. So what is being bought are some apples. That's our direct object. But who are we buying them for? We're buying them for Mac. Mac is one dude. So how do I say I'm buying some apples for him? Good, Jo Marion. And well, what did we do in number 1, you guys? Didn't we buy something up here for Tim? So this is just Mac now. So what is our answer? Right. Right. All right, very good. So we would say le. Okay. All right. Nosotros preparamos ceviche Diana y a Rita. So we have our clue for Diana and for Rita. Remember, we're replacing that, right? So we would get rid of this, you know. So Diana and Rita. So how do we say for them? Good. We're preparing ceviche for them. And notice, you guys, the use of the word for, right? For them. For. Okay. Or I buy the gift. I bought a gift. You know, I gave a gift to, right? To, for, or to. Okay. All right. Number 5. Papá siempre something prepara sus platos favoritos a Tess. So once we acknowledge it's a Tess, singular, for her. Dad always prepares his favorite dish for her. And therefore, right, therefore, lay, for her. Okay? All right, questions. All right. Make sure that you can see my screen. Okay. And I'm going to assign each of you a sentence. Okay. So I need you to put it in a sentence and notice what our directions say. It says here, listen carefully, we're going to use the verb pasar. Pasar. Pasar is a regular AR verb, right? Which means O A S A amos, right? That's an A, and on. Okay, those are our endings, right? So we would get rid of the AR to find the root, PAS, pas, and then add the appropriate ending. Okay, we'll do one together. We'll look at the example together. So it says Diana and Rita. So we're passing the salt, right? I am passing the salt to them. So I would say yo, and then I have to worry about paso because it's yo. So I would conjugate it correctly. Yo paso la sal a Diana y Rita, which would become less because it's plural. Okay. Anybody confused? All right. Well, let's I'll do the first one. Okay. I'll do the first one. So this one says Tess, you guys, is passing the clean fork to Arnoldo. All right. And I'll put this in the chat. So I want to say Tess and then pasa, okay, un tenedor limpio, and then to who? To Arnold. So it's going to be lay, right? And I'm going to put it in front of the verb. All right. So check out my, oops, Arshad, you get first billing there. Check out my sentence. Let me just a second, you guys, in the chat. Okay. So you are going to follow that model, right? Any questions before we do this? Okay, Joe Marion, you have number 2, right? Arshad, you have number 3. Brooke, you have number 4, and Mia, you have 5. Okay, so Joe Marion 2, Arshad 3, Brooke 4, and Malia 5. So put them in the chat when you're done. Okay, and please, you can ask me any questions that you need. Okay, Jamarian, that's beautiful. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. All right. So in the chat, you guys, I just sent you the answer to number 2. That was perfect. Okay. Let's see the next one. Arshad, you're not wrong. Okay. Except in the instructions, Mac and Tim passes the plate to me. Your sentence is correct. It's just that's not how it's the directions are or whatever. But yeah, you see what I'm getting at, Arshad? Did you catch that, Arshad? Because my computer kind of lagged. Okay, Brooke or Mia? And Mia, you had number 5, right? Okay, good job, Mia. That's perfect. Okay, here's number 5. I'll give you guys the answer for you to check out in 5. Okay, let's see, Brooke, you had 4, right, Brooke? Yeah. So if it's Patricia, it would be she, Brooke, and therefore this would be your verb would end in a, she. Okay. So Arshad, what would the yo be? Right, Arshad, because it would be Mac and Tim pass the plate to me. So what would it be? So it'd be a different word altogether, right? Okay, good, Brooklyn. Perfect. Okay, guys, here's your response for number 4. Good job. Yeah, so for 3, Arshad, he did it correctly. He just did it the other way around, right? And so number 3 would look like Mac Mackie Tim pasan. Sorry, I skipped that one. Me pasan, right? Un plato grande. Okay, so there it is in the chat. Okay, Mac and Tim me pasan, right? Because they were giving it to me, yo, right? It's just the instructions in the book, but your way would have been correct too, Arshad. Okay, all right. How you feeling about 3, 2, 1? 3, I got it. 1, I still need practice. Give me a 3, 2, 1 and something in between. 3, I got it. 1, I need practice. Okay. Okay. All right, muy bien. Okay. Let me get my screen situated here and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. Okay, give me a second. Waiting on my computer, actually. Bebopping around. It's jumping around, which is not helpful. Okay. Can I get everybody, please, to meet me in Canvas? Por favor. I need everybody to meet me in Canvas. And when you get there, go ahead and refresh your screen, please. Arshad, Jamarian, Malia, yeah. All right. Go ahead and refresh your screen. Okay. All right. Once you're there, try to see my Zoom screen as well. And, we are in desafío número tres, right? We're in goal number 3, indirect object pronouns. And you should see a practice sheet, direct and indirect object pronouns practice sheet. I also want you to take note of the date. Okay. So you have a week. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. So if you guys notice, I put in some like a cheat sheet. Okay, give me a thumbs up if y'all can see my screen and y'all can see the cheat sheet. I call it a cheat sheet. Yeah, Brooklyn? Yes? Okay. So when you're working on this thing, all you have to do is scroll up and down to problem solve. You don't need to look anywhere else. Okay. It's right here in your instructions. So you have on the left your direct objects and on the right your indirect objects. Right? So you have the charts and then you have how they work. Click on your annotation tool. You guys know the drill. You complete it any old which way you want. Okay. So notice your chart. You have direct object pronouns and indirect object pronouns. You can copy them straight off of here. So that's a no-brainer. Okay. Then when you scroll down a little bit, your instructions are partly in Spanish. Escribe las oraciones, right? Write the sentences con un pronombre. Be careful. Decide if you should use a direct object pronoun or an indirect object pronoun. So they're underlined for you. Okay. So you guys have to decide if you think what is underlined is a direct object or an indirect object, and then rewrite the sentence. So you would replace, right? Remember that they replace that item. So what is underlined should not be in your sentence. Okay, let me say it again. What is underlined is being replaced. So what is underlined should not be in your sentence. Okay. There are several of them, right? And you, like I say, your job is to figure out where which direct, if it's a direct object or an indirect object, and then which pronoun you need to use. Okay. Any questions? So you don't need to know what the sentence is asking or the question is asking or anything like that, right? You just need to be able to identify the verb or the action word. Okay. Okay. Any questions? All right. So you have that. And then let's talk a little bit about our Afro-Latinos project for Hispanic Heritage Month. I have for us a video, unless you'd rather watch it yourself. It's really up to you, like a podcast. If the podcast won't open for you guys, then you can still read it. Okay. And then there are some basic reflection questions. So you can work on those in class today. You can work on the worksheet today, whatever it is. But then, right, once you complete the podcast, then you need to find someone that you are interested in. You'll make a copy of that Google slide template there. And each slide, like I said last week, tells you what you should put on it. You can make it as pretty as you want. You can put pictures. In fact, I expect you to. If you find a video or something that you want to include, that's great. Okay. Give me a background. Tell me anything you want to tell me. What is in the template is the basics. Yeah. Those are the basic requirements. You guys can add information you want to add about the person. Okay. Just make sure it's all, school appropriate and all of that goodness. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So you guys, I'm going to give you some work time. Remember that officially today is the first day of second quarter. So you can complete the indirect object pronoun thing while it's fresh in your mind if you want, right? And then if you have time, you can try to access that podcast or read, skim through that article and answer the reflection questions, whatever you want to do. I also put in a resource to help you decide which Afro-Latino you want to look at, right? Which one you want to learn more about. And it doesn't have to be from those. If you have another one, that's cool too, right? Whatever you prefer. I don't think, what's that guy's name? Bad Bunny? Is that his name? You guys always forget. You know who I'm talking about? Is it Bad Bunny? Do y'all know who I mean? What's his name, you guys? Is it Bad Bunny? Y'all don't know him? It is Bad Bunny. Right? Bad Bunny. He's a Puerto Rican. So he might be somebody that you might want to learn about, right? Okay. I'll let you work. I'm here for questions or if you need help. So I'll be checking you out and Go Guardian. Like I said, you guys, if you have a question, let me know. I need to take roll. Okay, Malia, what are you working on, my friend? Yes. If you still have something that you haven't finished for first quarter, you guys, I'm not ever going to get used to calling it first 9 weeks. To me, it's a first quarter. You can be doing that because I'll be finishing up grades today. That's perfect, Leah. That's perfect. Good job. So Joe, there is a in the resource library is a visual to help you with all those. You want to just head on over to the resource library. Scroll down, yeah, it should be toward the bottom in the resource library. Can you find it? You want me to show you where it is? Yeah. Yeah. Or there's go to the resource library, Joe. Scroll up to the top in modules. It should be the first one. Yeah. Okay. Now once you're there, scroll to the bottom for the bottom of the resource module there. Scroll down. Let's see. Okay, so third one from the bottom, yo go verbs like hacer. Do you see it? Yeah, click on that. Okay, there you go. So there's your forms, and they're all going to follow that pattern, except for trier, because you can see right there by that, the last one on the list has that little red, like asterisk for trier. That one's just spelled a little differently. Okay. So if you can open up that visual, and you can just kind of flip back and forth in different tab. All right, let me know if you need help. If you have a question, holler at me. We have about 6 minutes, so let's try to use our time well. Okay, good job, Malia. All right, Joe, you need help getting started with that, or are you good? Okay. Hey guys, we have about a minute left. So if you have a question about something, now would be the time. Okay, I don't want to make you late for your next one. So, yeah, have a great one, you guys. Nos vemos. La semana entrante, right? Sí, la semana próxima. Okay, so enjoy. Okay, you guys, adios. Have a great day. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Okay, adios a todos. Have a great day.